Okay, so for any business owner, insurance feels like that essential safety net, right? But what if I told you there's a hidden tripwire that could make that net just poof, vanish, right when you need it the most? Today, we're diving into something called the duty of disclosure. It sounds a bit formal, but trust me, understanding this can literally make or break your business.
So let's imagine this for a second. You've done everything by the book. You've paid every single premium, on time, every time. You feel totally secure. But what if a simple mistake, maybe one you didn't even know you were making, meant that your entire policy was worthless? It actually happens a lot more often than you think, and today we're going to show you exactly how to stop it from happening to you.
To really get a feel for the stakes here, I want to walk you through a scenario that is, well, it's every business owner's worst nightmare. And this isn't just theory. This is the kind of thing that plays out for real every single day.
Okay, so it happens. There's an accident at your business. A customer gets hurt. This is exactly why you have insurance in the first place. You file the claim. Let's say it's for $50,000. The insurance company, of course, starts doing its homework, digging into your application, your business history, and then you get the letter. Claim denied. But it's actually worse than that. They avoided your policy from the very beginning. It's like you were never covered at all. So why? Let's perform the autopsy.
The reason for this complete disaster is a really fundamental legal idea called the duty of disclosure. You can think of it as the absolute bedrock of the entire contract you have with your insurer.
Yeah, this isn't just, a nice thing to do. It's the law. The Australian Insurance Contracts Act puts the responsibility squarely on your shoulders to tell your insurer all the relevant info. And here's the kicker, whether they ask for it specifically or not.
So let's just break down that legal speak. What is a material fact? Well, in plain English, it's any piece of information that might make an insurer pause and think twice. You have to ask yourself, could this fact change the premium they offer me? Could it make them decide not to cover me at all? If the answer is yes, or even just a maybe, it's considered material.
And this brings us to the toughest part of this whole duty. Your intention doesn't matter one bit. You can't just say, "Oops, I forgot," or "I didn't know that was important." Pleading ignorance is not an excuse. In the eyes of the law and the insurer, the burden of getting this right is entirely on you.
Okay, so if ignorance is no defense, then knowledge is your best weapon, right? Let's get practical and look at the actual kinds of material facts we're talking about. What is it that insurers really need to know?
So what are we talking about here? Well, things like previous insurance claims, even if they were a few years ago. Definitely any criminal history, especially for stuff like fraud or theft. Did you start working with hazardous materials or doing work at heights? They need to know. Any financial instability like a past bankruptcy. Even things like pre-existing damage to your property. And listen, even good news like a huge jump in your revenue or adding a new service, all of this changes your risk profile, and you have to disclose it.
Now here's another common trap. A lot of people think this is a one-and-done deal when you first get the policy. But the duty of disclosure isn't a single event. It's a responsibility that's ongoing for the entire life of your policy.
As you can see, this thing never really stops. I mean, of course you have to disclose everything when you're first applying, that's a no-brainer, but at every single renewal, you're basically reapplying, and you have to update your insurer on anything that's changed. And this is the one that gets people. If something significant happens in the middle of your policy term, like you open a new location or you double your staff, you have a duty to let them know right then and there. Don't wait for the renewal.
So when you boil it all down, this isn't really about annoying paperwork or red tape. It's about a really fundamental choice that you have to make as a business owner. It's the core trade-off of what insurance is all about.
Look at it this way. There are two paths you can go down. On the left, you've got non-disclosure. Sure, you might get a cheaper premium, but you're basically walking a tightrope with the massive risk that your policy is totally worthless. Now, on the right, you have full disclosure. Yeah, your premium might be a bit higher because it's accurately priced for your real risk, but in return, you get what you actually paid for. A solid, guaranteed bridge of coverage and genuine peace of mind.
And that's really it. This isn't about trying to save a few dollars. It's about making sure your investment, and insurance is an investment, is real. A policy that's hiding undisclosed facts isn't actually insurance at all. It's just a piece of paper. It's a gamble, and the odds are definitely not in your favor.
So that's the final question I want to leave you with. When you really weigh it out, saving a few bucks on a premium versus the absolutely catastrophic risk of having zero coverage when a disaster hits, well, the choice becomes pretty crystal clear, doesn't it? Your business is worth so much more than that gamble.